So can say, so how many methods are there? Postgres installation. One is source code method. Second is yum method. Third is RPM method. So fourth one is GUI method. This is applicable only Windows platform only. Okay. So these three uh we can install on any Linux platform. So for Oracle Linux or RHCL for IBM for any Linux. If you want to install Postgres database on Linux platform, you have to choose any one of these method. Either source code method you can select, either M method you can select, either RPM method you can select. Okay, so last class we completed. So the GA method we completed. We install Postgres database on Windows platform. So we seen how to connect the database after that. So there are two methods are there to connect the database. So what are the methods to connect the DB? Command line mode and so second GUI method. So in command line mode we are using PSQL. In GUI mode we are using PG admin tool. So this is two ways we can connect the database after build the database server. So in Linux platform, the same. The connection of way of connection is same for any platform. The way of installation methods are different when you compare platform to platform. If it is Windows, we have to only one method is there, that is GUI method, graphical user interface. So we have to select this one method only. If it is Windows platform. If it is Linux platform, we have to select either source code method or M method or RPM method. So source code method we already seen last class. So what is the default location if you go with the Postgres installation via source code method? What is the default home location? This is the default home location. What is that? /usr local pg SQL. This is the home location. Home location means what is the purpose of home location? Software will be installed. Software will be installed inside this location. Software will be, please keep on mute. Please keep on mute. So where the software will be installed, that location we called as a Postgres database home location. That is a default one. We'll see. Okay, we can change if you want. So what is the data directory? We use last class user one data 15. So people by seeing this data directory easily they can understand. So this is the they installed a 15 Postgres database version. That's why they use the user one data 15. So what is the purpose of data directory? To keep data files and configuration files. Every database there are when you build the database server, some default database created for each and every database. Here three database got created. What are those three? Postgres template 1, template 0. For these three databases backend some data files are created. Where the data files created, what location use data directory. Inside this location, default data files created for these three databases and some configuration files are there. Those configuration files also created at the same location. So data directory which is used for to keep data files and configuration files. So what is the default port number? 5432. If you install anywhere, the default Postgres community version of Postgres SQL port number is 5432. How many database created when you build the database server? 3 Postgres, template 1, template 0. So you can see here. So what are the installation steps we use in case of source code method? Installation of Postgres. First we have to download Postgres database. We have to enter that's what last we did. So after enter, go to enter directory. We have to configure, make install. These are the three steps we have to follow to install only software only. Next we have to create cluster. Create a cluster. To create a cluster, what we required? We required need one user. Need one user. We used last time Postgres user at OS level. At a OS level. So need one data directory location. One data directory. Last time we used /user1 data 15. So to create a cluster, we require these two. To create a cluster, we require these two. Once these two available, we can create a cluster. How to create a cluster? What is the utility? Initdb is the utility which we can use to create a cluster. Once the creation of cluster is done, next need
गूगल
to
में सर्च करें.
please keep unmute.
अनुचे जे
Hello.
नेटवर्क वॉइस एडमिन.
Yeah. So can say. So how to start the database in case of Linux? pg_ctl. To stop and start a database services, we can use pg_ctl. Then we can connect the database. We know how to connect the database. So these are the steps we follow last time we build the database server using source code method. That is the default location. Home location default, data directory location default. So if you want to customize, suppose I don't want to use a default location. I don't want to use default location. Suppose I want to use location. Suppose you can see here, I want to use a Postgres database home location. This is the location. This is the location where I want to install my Postgres database. This is my customized, my own location. I want to use Postgres home location. This is the location. So what was the data directory? Yes, data directory also. I can use my own data directory. Let me can say user to data 15. Yes. So like this, I can customize my home location under data directory. This is my data directory. We know what is the purpose of data directory. What is the purpose of home location? We know. So when you go with the default location in case of source code method, Postgres installation in source code method, customize. How to? We are customizing installation location. Yes, here we are customizing our installation location. We are not going to install default location. I want to use, this is the home location. I want to use Postgres installation inside this location. For a data files, confidential files, I want to keep inside this. And also, so but what is the default super user in Postgres? Postgres. So I want to default super user. Default super user also I want to change. Suppose Postgres 1. Clear? Everything I can customize. The same method only. Last time we did source code method. But we installed with the default location, default user. Today what we are going to do? Today I am going to Postgres installation my own location. I don't want to use the super user Postgres. I don't want to use super user. Postgres is the default one. Postgres is the default user. I don't want to use default user. I don't want to use super user Postgres. I want to customize my own username. Postgres is the default super user. Yes. How to customize this user? When you build the database server, I can see super user Postgres 1, not Postgres. After build the database server, I can see my Postgres binaries. It should be installed my own location, not /us or local pg SQL. Clear? So what are the installation steps we followed last time? These are the, let's see, let me keep here. Okay. So you can say here configure. Here we have to use hyphen prefix equal to your Postgres, your own location. What is our own location? This is the location. If you give this parameter hyphen prefix, that means we are going to tell to system, please install Postgres binaries my own location by specifying this parameter. Last time we did not specify this hyphen prefix. When you give just a slash configure without any parameter, it's going to install default location. It takes the default location by default. No need to specify location. If you are not specify this parameter, that means Postgres installed a default /usr local pg SQL. Here we are customizing our installation location. So how to customize? While firing this command, we have to specify hyphen prefix equal to your own location. You can create any location. User to app, PG15, whatever. Wherever you want to install, just change the location. That's it. This is how you can customize Postgres installation. Customize Postgres installation location. Okay. So then next steps common. Make install. This is how you can Postgres install our own location. Next, create a cluster. How to create a cluster? initdb. So can say slash here. What is the utility? So what is the default in location of initdb? /usr local pg SQL bin initdb. When you install Postgres default location, this is the home location. When you customize, you have to use the right home location. This is my Postgres home location. So you have to change here. Postgres home location under bin folder under initdb. -d. What data directory you want to use? User to data 15. When you fire this command, it's going to create the cluster with a default super user. What is the default super user? Postgres. I don't want to use default super user is Postgres. I want to change my super user as well. Then you have to specify -u Postgres 1. Clear? These two changes very important. When you don't want to use a default super user, you have to specify while creating the cluster. I am specifying -u. This is the using this super user. When you create a cluster, use this super user Postgres 1. If you not specify this parameter, it's going to create a super user name is Postgres. Here, when you not specify this parameter, Postgres where it was going to install, it is going to install inside a default location. What is the default location? /usr local pg SQL. Clear? Any queries from as of now? Yes. Go ahead if you have any queries. Any queries from anyone? Any doubts? No, right? Okay. So let's go and implement. So we need this location. We have to create this location because we decided to install Postgres inside this location. So we require this location. Just the location, the directory is available. Let me verify the directory is available or not. Let me connect my database server. Root Oracle. If you have any queries, let me know. Feel free to ask. Okay, let me connect. Open terminal. Let me get the IP address. If config. Yes. What is the IP address here? You can see 192.168.147.222. Let me open putty. 40. 192.168.147.222. Okay. Yes. Root Oracle. Yes, I connected putty. I established the remote connection for this server. Let me change the settings. Appearance. Change. Okay. So keep. Let me keep bold. Click on OK. Click on apply. Now you can see. So For any Linux platform, we have to verify the prerequisites first. How to verify? RPM-QA, GCC. Yes, the GCC compiler is installed. What was the installation of this GCC? Make-version. 3. It should be 3.80 or above. So we are good. The mandatory prerequisites, we are good. What are the optional? RPM-QA, read line. Yes, this one also installed. Next, zlib. These are the mandatory prerequisites for any Linux platform. We have to verify the prerequisites part. We are good. So let's see LL. Last time we installed Postgres15. So the same thing we use. Or if you want to different installation, different version, you can download the software Postgres whatever 14, 13, which version you want to install, just download using wget command. So I am going to use this Postgres SQL 15.10. So let me. So what we required? We need a installation location. We decided to install Postgres our custom location. So we have to create the installation location. This is the location. Let me create. Let me see first. This is available or not? No. So we have to create mkdir. In real time, who create this directory should be Linux admin. We have to tell to Linux admin. We need one location for home location, one location for a data directory. Please create these two. This home location should be owned by root user. Data directory should be owned by Postgres user. Okay. So mkdir -p user1 app pg15. Yes, I created. Now let me go to this location. Nothing is there. Who is the owner of this directory? You can see root only, because the Postgres installation done with root user only. So just create a directory. Don't change the owner. It should be for root only. Now, what other location we required? Data directory. So let me create data directory. So cd u02. I am going to use u02. So let me mkdir -p /u02 data 15. This should be owned by Postgres user. Let me see who is the owner of when you create a directory. Root only, because we log in with root user. We created a directory with root user. So the owner should be assigned current user only for any directory. How to change the ownership? ch1 -r Postgres. Okay. Postgres : Postgres. This. Okay. OS level, if you want to change the different user, you can change. OS level, if you want to change the different user, you can change. I am going to change the super user at a DB level, Postgres 1. At OS level, I am going to keep same user Postgres. So let me, yes, chmod -r 755. I change the ownership, change the modification. Now, going to do installation. Let me go to here. Where is the software? Can see. So I already enter. Let me go to entire directory. Going to installing. I am inside the entire directory. So what was the step? Configure --- prefix. Okay. If you want to see what are the options are there, configure --- help command. What are the help commands for configure option? You can see here. These are the help commands. If you want to change the bin directory separate, okay, you can use --- bin directory. For only bin location, it should be create separate. Lib directory separate. Library. Like this, you can use these options. Somewhere there is a --- prefix. You can see here. You can say without package. Suppose as last time we did without read line. If you don't have read line installed, you have to mention --- without package name, without -read line, like this. Means do not use package, whatever you mentioned. While installation, it won't consider. So like this, you can verify the configure option. We are using --- prefix equal to, you can use your location. Clear? So let me configure hyphen prefix equal to our own location. So what location we created? This is the location. User 1, the location is available. Slash user 1 going to install Postgres15 version inside this location. Let's wait. Okay. Can say it's saying okay without readline. Let me keep without readline without jetlib because this is a trial version, so that's why it's not recognizing in real time. No need to mention this without. If you don't have jetlib readline, then only we can use. So now it won't consider those two packages. It consider we don't have those two packages, so we are going to installing the software. It's verifying the all the prerequisites existing or not. Now make command. Make. It's going to converting everything. Whatever the downloaded software is there in the C language, it's converting from C language to SQL language. Once converted, we can initiate make install. It's going to install the binaries or software our desired location, not a default location. Installation is done. How to verify? User 1 app pg15 Postgres pg home. Can say Postgres binaries we installed our own location, not a default location. User 1 app pg15 pg home. Yes, I can see the bin folder. Go to bin. We can say these are the utilities. pgctl. So what was the pgctl? Can say pgctl. Who is the what is the full path of pgctl? Whenever you want to use pgctl or initdb, you can use this location only. pwd home location inside the bin. Okay, so this is how we can install Postgres our own location, and we verified the installation part. Go to the home location. There we can say bin folder, lib folder, share folder. Okay, so now I want to create a cluster. You can see the same notepad you can follow. Same the installation, mandatory prerequisites, optional prerequisites verified. We created directory. Okay, home location we created, the data directory we created. Okay, next. So if you want to copy to user 1, yes, you can. Dot configure, you can say without readline, without jetlib, prefix equal to the same step we inserted. Next, make install. We verified the installation part. cd go to home location. Now this user is already existing. Last time we created. If you don't have, you have to create. If let me add user add posters means I'm trying to add the user. User is already existing. That's fine. Okay. So if you don't have set up this password, you can set up. Last time we already set up. If you want to set up again, you can set up. So you can say I'm going to set up Oracle password for this Postgres user. Yes, done. Next create a cluster. Create a data 15 directory. Yes, we already created. The directory is available. Now I have to switch to Postgres user, then create a cluster. How to create a cluster? Using initdb. Yes, what is the initdb full path? User 1 app pg15 pg home bin initdb. -d. What is the data directory going to use? User to data 15 -u. Don't forget, whenever you want to change the super user, you have to mention -u while create the cluster. -u Postgres 1. Clear? Any queries in this step? Here, if you
Have you
not,
added the user?
yeah. Hello, please.
Have you added the user?
Yeah, yes, I am going to use this user as a super user. Postgres 1.
Has that user been created?
Yes, it's going to create a DB level, not OS level. Correct. I will show you after. connecting the DB. It's going to create a database level. The super user name is Postgres1. Clear? Just mention that you at OS level we did not create. This user is going to create a database level. No need to create OS level. OS level we used username is Postgres only. Okay, let me enter. It's creating the cluster. So you can say let me start. How to start the services? pgctl -d data directory server started. How to verify the services? ps-efa grep postgres. Now the services are started. What is the home location? You can say yes. We installed our own location only. What is the data directory? This is the data directory. When you go to this data directory, so you can see all the data files and the configuration files are there. Now I want to connect the database. How to connect the database? You have to use PSQL. PSQL. You can see it's saying role postgres data. So because we used a different super user, we have to mention the DB name and username. -d DB means I want to connect to Postgres database. -u username, which user used while while creating the cluster Postgres1. That means with this user going to connect this DB. Now you can say /du. How to check the super user? Postgres1. Because we given this our own username while create the cluster. That's why it's created a super user Postgres1 at DB level, database level. If you not specify -u username while in DB, its default it's going to create a Postgres user only. Any queries from anyone? Okay.
Yeah, Venkat, the
Good.
normal post is while installing,
Mm-hmm.
we are able to connect that PostgreSQL database in cluster.
Mm-hmm.
So we can perform all the activities like Postgres one, but not possible. The whatever you told the installation steps the last week,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to connect with the Postgres login account.
Okay.
Can we take the backup and every activities can do or not?
Super user means you can use any username while installation super user. With that user, we can do all the activities. That
Like
is the
Postgres
admin
one,
user. Whatever,
Postgres one. Okay,
whatever. You can keep any name. You can see here. That means here it should be super user mentioned. That means Postgres one is a super user. If it is super user, if you make any normal user as a super user, that user also, with that user also we can do. Suppose let me create our own user. Create user username. Suppose Postgres. I created one user Postgres. Sorry. Let me connect database. Create user username Postgres. /du. Which one is the super user right now? You can see. What is the super user?
one.
Why, how you can say? Under attributes, clearly mentioned super user keyword. That means super user means that user having all the privileges, even though it's not a name Postgres. Maybe while creation of cluster we used super user Postgres1. This Postgres is a normal user. Someone is created. Even this user don't have any basic permissions also, privileges. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other queries? This is how we can customize our installation part, our data directory part, our super user part.
So
Okay.
let me ask you a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now that we create that user, under that Postgres database. So
Mhm.
let's say we now create another database
Mhm.
with different user.
Yeah.
That Postgres user Postgres one will not be able to connect to that second database. We only connect to this Postgres database only.
No, users are global objects in Postgres. Global objects means by default all the users can connect a database. That is the default privileges for all users. Global objects, wherever you create the user, you can access from any database. Suppose let me create one database. Create a database, HRMS. So where I create the user Postgres inside the Postgres database. Even though you created users any other database, for all from any database I can see all the users. Can see inside the Postgres database also I can see same users information. Inside the Postgres database also I can see the same information /du. It gives the users and the roles information. So users and the table spaces are global objects. Global objects. Local objects means what is the local object? Suppose if you create a table, I am going to create a table. Create a table, table name emp, id, integer. Where I created this table, inside the Postgres database I can see, not inside the HRMS database. You can see /dt, nothing is there. /c HRMS, /dt, nothing is there inside the HRMS database. So these two users and the table spaces are global objects. Wherever you can create inside the instance, you can create any database. We can see all the database information from any database. So I can connect any database default. That is the default behavior. But that after connecting, you cannot do anything, because if you want to do something, you need required privileges. If someone is given the grant, then we can do. So in the coming sections, we'll discuss when our table spaces users part. That time we'll discuss in deep what is the local objects, what is the global objects, what is the difference between local and global objects. As of now, there is a instance. Let me go to paint.
Hello, I have one question. Good
Go
morning.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, this means like we are creating the cluster means number of nodes are more than one, or like a cluster uh, in DB level. How we are going to create this
Okay. So I think you
cluster?
joined today only, last task.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can say this is my Linux mission. This is my Linux server. This is my Linux server. How many servers are there here? Only one server. Inside the server, I created a cluster just now. What is the cluster data directory we used? U0 to data 15. What is the location we use data directory? U0 to data 15. What is the purpose of this? To keep my data files under configuration files. Data files under configuration files. Yes. So cluster means it's a combination of databases, not nodes. In case of Oracle, we can say combination of nodes. Here, cluster means this is one cluster. Yes, this is the one cluster. I created one cluster. What is the cluster data directory? U0 to data 15. You can use any location. This cluster means one instance. Cluster or instance. Or instance. Cluster or instance, we can say it's a combination of databases. How many databases created by default? 3 databases. Postgres, template 1, template 0. This is the one cluster. A cluster is a combination of databases. By default, when you create a cluster, 3 databases got created. Like this, you can create a number of clusters inside the one Linux server. Second cluster. What is the second cluster data directory? It should not be existing data directory. Suppose I can use u02 data 15 underscore 1. You can use any one. Different location. So here what is the port number? 5432 I used. Here, when you start the second cluster, it should be different port 5433. Each cluster it's required one unique data directory, one unique port number. Then only we can start the cluster services. So in this cluster also 3 databases got created. What are those? The same default databases. Postgres, template 1, template 0. Yes, like this you can create a number of clusters. Cluster means it's like one instance. If the instance is running, then you can connect any database, HRMS or Postgres, whatever. Inside the databases, how can connect? The cluster should be up and running. How to start and stop cluster services? You can use PGCTL. You can use PG underscore CTL. You have to specify the -d, which cluster data services you want to start. User to data 15. If you mention like this, PGCTL, user to data 15, then start. It's going to start user to data 15 services only. If you want to stop. Which data directory services, which cluster services, data 15 services only. Like this, you can stop, either stop or start. So inside one Linux server, I can create n number of clusters. Cluster means like instance. It contains databases. We can create n number of databases inside the cluster. Inside the Linux server, we can create a n number of clusters. Inside the cluster, we may create n number of databases. That is depends on the system configuration. Clear?
Clear, yeah, good. Then, what is the significance of this cluster? Means this what is called scalability will be there. If cluster is not there in node level,
not there.
then that node
Yeah. That time, if you want to go high availability, go to the replication like data guard concept, Oracle. There is no rack
not in
concept.
Data guard is a replication site, right?
That's what.
Not
Yeah.
that level. My question is like, if one node is not available or sometime we want to do maintenance in this particular node, that time if service can up and running in new node from next node in the read write mode only, that
There
time
is
only
no
this
option.
cluster will
There is no option
come.
Postgres.
Okay.
Multi-node.
Multi-node is no option.
No
Okay,
option.
good.
Yeah, that is rack.
Then here, if multiple clusters are there, cluster 1, cluster 2, same database is there in cluster 1 also and
Yes, you can
in
create.
cluster 2 also.
You can create. Yes. Within the cluster, it cannot accept the same DB which is already existing. Different cluster means you can create the same database. You can
Okay.
create different clusters. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So, any queries from anyone? Customize installation for a source code method. All the steps are there. Okay.
Actually, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So we have created one user on any database, so it will be global, as you said, right?
Yes.
For example, if you want to give the permission to a particular database only, so we can able to segregate, right?
Yeah.
Based on the
Correct.
query, or else we can do a separate session.
Grant. Using grant option on which database you
yes.
given the access, that user get the access only particular DB only. What type of based on the privileges.
Got it.
Grant connect on database name to username.
Okay. So read permissions, right?
Yeah,
permissions
whatever.
are
Read
right.
whatever you want to. If you give, then only they can access.
Okay.
And yeah, one here only, if this cluster user can access cluster 2 server, if we are creating a user in cluster 1, that user can connect to cluster 2 as well.
Again, sorry.
Yeah, in this regarding the user, like we have a two cluster, two separate cluster, and we are creating one user Postgres 1 in cluster 1. That same user can connect database to
Yes.
cluster 2 also.
If the same user, yes, you have to specify the port number. Port number is different each cluster.
That is there, but no need to create the different user in cluster 2, right?
That's
Same
based
user
on
will
your
be.
requirement. If you want to keep same, you can keep. If you want to different, you can different. Based on
No,
the
no.
port number, data directory, we can identify.
Okay. That is then data directory, based on the data directory, that cluster is different than cluster
Suppose,
one, right?
1 minute. Suppose PSQL. So suppose you have 2 clusters are running. We are assuming. Okay.
Okay.
2 clusters we have same database, that is Postgres. Okay. Which cluster? Suppose first cluster port number 5432, second cluster 5433. Now I want to connect a Postgres database inside the second cluster, that is 5433. You have to mention 5433. It's directly connected to Postgres DB where existing in the second cluster, not first cluster. So you have to specify the port number. Means which database, which cluster database it has to connect. By specifying the port number, it go and connect the second cluster database. If the inside the second cluster, if we have Postgres DB, it establishes the connection. Suppose
Okay.
5432. Yes,
Got it.
connect to first cluster DB.
Okay, this is are like a completely different only. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Each
543 cluster
cluster,
one is green.
yeah, it should be unique port number. Based on the port
Got it.
number, we can connect which cluster you want to connect.
So creating object in this cluster one, it will not replicate to cluster two. That is correct. Yeah.
No,
got it.
different individual objects clusters.
Yeah.
Any other queries? Okay, so that's it today.